Next tweet. There's Henry VIII. She's always putting some awesome conversation pieces on Twitter. And by the way, whoever's new or not aware, Henry VIII has a YouTube channel just like this, the same title. Okay, Henry VIII. Okay, my guess remains that Harry is going to talk about him and his brother being pressured to publicly accept Camilla following their mother's death. Let's see here. And she continued, I think that it was Charles is so touchy about. Diana remains his Achilles heel as far as his reputation. One of her sons claiming that they were pressured to accept his affair partner will deal a lot of damage. Camilla is and has always been in bed with the tabloid. Yeah, she knows how to play that game very well. I've always said that. She knows how to play that game very well. Okay, who hasn't Camilla been in bed with? Serious question. Let's see here, there's a laugh. Oh, totally, he wanted what he wanted. Then he out of the whole affair on TV too before Diana's interview. Yes, Charles gave an interview first, but notice how most people think it was Diana. Millions have been spent rewriting history. Yep. This is why I keep on saying we are witnessing to this stuff.
Well, that is one of the things that worried me, to be raised to the position of a semi-god. Because then you are no longer a human being.
Right.
I wanted to be known as Mandela, a man with weaknesses. I wanted to be known as Mandela, a man with weaknesses. A man with weaknesses, some of which are fundamentals. Some of which are fundamental.
It's not enough to just survive something, right? Like, that's not the point of life. You've got to thrive, you've got to feel happy.
That worried me a great deal, especially because I knew it's some of which are fundamental.
They've created a false narrative. I've never talked about privacy. I think that's just a basic understanding.
That worried me a great deal.
I never thought that this would be easy, but I thought it would be fair. And that's the part that's really hard to reconcile.
That worried me a great deal, especially because I knew it was not at the contribution of an individual.
Sussex squad. Sussex squad.
It was not at the contribution of an individual. It was not at the contribution of an individual which would bring about liberation and the peaceful transformation of the country. And my first task when I came out was to destroy that myth that I was something other than an ordinary human being.
I think that's just a basic understanding.
Pattern of disturbing behavior. But on this particular case,
I was something other than an ordinary human being.
You're not the only powerful woman, even in this community, who has had a sitting president take a shot at you, mobs come at you, powerful people and powerful forces try to take you down or try to disparage your message.
I was something other than an ordinary human being.
It's about being authentic. And if you look back at anything that I've said, it's really interesting because it often what ends up being inflammatory, it seems, is people's interpretation of it. But if you listen to what I actually say, it's not controversial.
Some of which are fundamental.
And actually some of it is reactive to things that just haven't happened, which is...
Try and encourage others and the younger generation to be able to see the world in the correct sense rather than perhaps having a distorted view.
In some ways, I think you have to have a sense of humor about it, even though there is quite a bit of gravity, and there can be a lot of danger in a misinterpretation of something that was never there to begin with.
Having a distorted view.
Whatever position I occupied, it was as the result of my colleagues and my comrades in the movement.
Sussex squad. Sussex squad.
Who had decided in their wisdom to use me for the purpose of focusing the attention of the country and the international community on me.
you say you
Not because I had any better virtues than themselves.
A lot of people knowing a lot about you. Was it refreshing?
Or thinking they know.
Or thinking they know.
You know, at the end of the day, I'm really just proud of who I am and where I come from.
But because this was their decision.
You say you
Not because I had any better virtues than themselves, but because this was their decision.
Sussex squad. Sussex squad.
Brittany.
All sorts.
No, I mean, I think also because there's a misconception that because I have worked in the entertainment industry that this would be something I would be familiar with. But even though I've been on my show for, I guess, 6 years at that point, and working before that, I've never been part of tabloid culture. I've never been in pop culture to that degree, and lived a relatively quiet life, even though I focused so much on my job. And so that was a really stark difference out of the gate. But and I think we were just hit so hard at the beginning with a lot of mistruths.
I was raised by my grandmother with no running water and no electricity, but given the kind of support and given the desire to have an education by my grandmother, who believed that education was everything. And so I wanted to be able to give back to African girls what I'd been given.
As a university graduate, I know the personal feeling of pride and excitement that comes with attending university. From the moment you receive your acceptance letter, to the exams you spend countless late nights studying for, the lifelong friendships you make with your fellow alumni, to the moment that you receive your diploma. The journey of higher education is an incredible, impactful, and pivotal one. I am also fully aware of the challenges of being able to afford this level of schooling for many people around the world, myself included.
These people, they'll switch things up. Meanwhile, they're living their best life, and then they don't want people to know how they actually live their life. Okay, I thought so too, but then hers got more airtime even then. I'm sure when it came out, I knew he did, but this all happened in real time since I'm older, but don't know anyone who thought Charles and Camilla were on the right side of things, and this was pre-internet. Yeah. Okay, it was pre-internet, but Charles' bad behavior made news around the world. No telling how much money he spent whitewash his and Camilla's reputation. Oh, I even have a clip where, what is it? They even plan out how he wants to introduce Camilla. All right, the nonsense that went behind the scene. Camilla went into a restaurant by herself, and then later on Charles went to the same restaurant, and then they come out together. That's pure performance. And then they live in the same car. That was the way he introduced Camilla to the world. I mean, everything is scripted. If they live their true life, okay, and to the public eyes, people will be very disgusting. So they have to plan out everything. The same way like when the Queen passed, where the fab that could have been four came in one car to see the flowers and all of that. I told you that was just PR. Everything has to be planned for them. Okay, Camilla has very cozy relationship with the tabloid. Ever read what her ex-brother-in-law has said about her? Ruthless. Yeah, I read that in one of the videos. Yes, I saw that on Twitter the other day. Well, toxic people are never just bad toward one person. I know, remember all the mags, etc. at the time, but just that you didn't have Twitter, etc. You had to go find the stuff in libraries, etc. after the fact. Yeah. What's that thing? Libraries? I don't know. Do they still have it? The films you put on a machine, where they try to keep record of magazines or articles. They put them in a film, and you have to go search for them. Yeah. But with internet, I don't know if they still do that. Okay, I wish, but I don't think so. Okay, unfortunately, William is now transformed into Camilla's surrogate son. I see only Harry is now carrying on Diana's legacy, just like I was saying. All right, let's read this and then that's it. There is absolutely no way Harry is going to do that. The book probably is going to be about his life and the army, and possibly how the media mess up his private life. It's the royal voters who are bothered the most because him telling his own story cuts into the profiteering. I don't even think Harry has full relationship with Camilla. You may not have seen the footage as it's not shown often, but William and Harry personally decorated their dad's honeymoon car and showed him and his wife with confetti as they drove away. They both look very happy for their dad. I don't know. Harry is like, he was the nicest person in the royal family. He showed welcome to every new members that comes into the royal family. But when it was time for him to be well received by his new wife, everybody turned on him. That's one thing I know for sure. This is despicable. Harry will tell his story his own way. This is why it is his memoir. Okay, I'm guessing it's probably Camilla. Okay, it's probably Camilla who's worried the most. So she's probably the one who's worried the most because she knew what she did. She knew what she did, and she probably doesn't know if Harry knows. And then they're going crazy about that. I think that would be too messy. I don't see Harry going there. He has enough stuff to talk about surrounding his mother's death to not give energy to Camilla. I think she'll be alluded to, but nothing more than that. Yeah, I think it's the same thing with the Oprah interview. You see how crazy they went? And then they exposed themselves in the process, calling Meghan a bully. They thought Meghan, for the amount of abuse that they did to her, they create this nonsense once they know that the interview was gonna be aired, because they didn't know what was in it. They create this false narrative that they bully Meghan. Meghan was like, okay, do the investigation. I have my receipt. If you think my action is term of bullying, let's go ahead. And then come to find out, I don't know, they then put the finding public. Maybe they're holding it, okay, probably when she's no longer alive. Okay, at some point everybody's gonna die. Okay, and then for them to create their own narrative. All right, so I think Meghan's lawyer should have a copy of that, so when that time does happen, her lawyer, you know, the information passed to whatever information keepers, all right, to represent her and say, no, this is what we got, what you're saying is not right. All right, so this is what I think happened. They didn't find anything, but they're holding it until at a time where she cannot defend herself, and then for them to spend it their own way. All right, and this is why the squad bringing people out, bringing different receipts saying Meghan is not a bully. Her friends come out, Meghan is not a bully.
I will say I don't speak for them. I speak for myself. I have known her for 17 years, and I have seen the way that she regards the people around her and the people she works with, and I can say she's not a bully. But I can also say that I am personally glad that people are doing their due diligence, because I also know why someone had to leave, and it was for gross misconduct.
All right, and she knew there was misbehavior. All right, next tweet.